Welcome to the Deep Dive podcast, where in this season we dive into Stephen Bartlett's 33 Laws of Business and Life with me, Pamela Walsh, and the amazing...
Oh, I'll take that, Pam. Thank you very much. Sian Horn. Pamela, I am so delighted to be doing this with you. We have spoken about it for such a long time, but I think it is really important that we start with our introduction. So, do you want to go first?
Okay, so I am Pamela Walsh. I am the founder and owner of Monarch Business Solutions. My passion is business, but also personal development growths, which is why I'm here today, I think. So my full background for business is in finance. I'm an accountant, but I also have a very strategic brain. I have lots of experience in project management, in operations, and in just creating more lean and efficient, robust, and sustainable businesses.
And you do it really, really well, can I just say? And that's how we've ended up here today, because I'm kind of obsessed with you because we think quite similarly. But
I know.
if ever we're on calls in big groups, I can see you like leaning into the screen at the same time I am, or
Biting my fingers trying to shut myself up.
but no, it's amazing. And for those that don't know, my name is Sian Horn. I'm a business mentor. It's always been like my side business, actually. I'm also a Pilates instructor. I work heavily in social media, and my passion, though, is SMEs, small businesses. I
Yeah.
tend to work with primarily women. That's just worked out that way, and making sure that they get the visibility that they deserve and need, and giving them the confidence to do that. So, as a coach, I suppose it's the confidence piece and the support piece. As a mentor, it's information, and I suppose my number one love is networking. And I'm the founder of the club Women's Network. However, I'm also a member of 4 other networks because I spend a lot of time connecting people with the right people. And I suppose let's start with that, Pam, because that's kind of how we met, is through connection.
Yeah, well, firstly, I was in Elite Pilates when I was living
Oh
in
yeah,
Douglas years ago. That was the first time I ever met you, Shan. But
yeah.
I'm a member of the club, so I actually joined last January. Because when I started my business last November, and I remember seeing the club, and I was like, oh, when I'm better, when I'm more established, I'm not good enough for the club yet. And I hear that from people now all the time. It's so funny, but you totally don't have to be like. That's what I love about the club. It's like it's a real proper robust network, but it's quite informal as well at the same time, and you can there's so many different like businesses at different stages of their business. It's and it's really, really great for collaboration. It's fantastic. Love it.
No, you can't beat it. And like you were saying, in fact, I just will tell people that we are starting to record this after jumping on to record this an hour and 10 minutes ago, because when we get together, we just can't stop. And I think, for me, like when you're starting out in business, it's so important to get rid of the fluff and
Mm,
the misinformation that we watch all the time. Like it always fascinates me that people say, "Oh no, you must have such a great time working for yourself." It's the freedom of working for yourself, the flexibility. And I'm like, there is no flexibility. There's certainly no freedom. And if you have staff, there's definitely no freedom because you end up working for them for the rest of your life.
mm.
Um, but if you do something that you love to do, it doesn't feel so much like work, and it's just a way of life, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Because I think when you work for yourself, you can't turn your brain off. It's like like when I roll over at 3 o'clock in the morning and my brain wakes up a little bit, it's like, and what about this? And I'm like, shut up. But I think as well, one thing I've learned is, oh, but you're not answerable to a boss, you're your own boss. No, you're not. Like if you have 4 clients this week, you have 4 bosses this week. Yes, they can't say you have to sit in this chair and you're not allowed to leave until 5 o'clock, but you're still answerable to people. They're still
Yeah,
paying your invoices. Your brain doesn't stop. My brain
absolutely.
doesn't stop.
No, my brain doesn't stop. I know, like, I'd be on family holidays and my mum always says, "Oh, she's always working. She's always at the end of the phone." I am, but I honestly do love everything that I do. So I don't mind. And if I do like, I mean, you said that journey of self-development. Um, and I think people are getting that much younger these days. I probably didn't realize the importance of my own self-development until my late 30s, and my own self-care, most importantly.
Hmm.
I was just on like I was just running. I was that hamster on a wheel. I was just running, doing as much as I could do, getting it done. And then, I hate, I'm not sure I like the word burnout, because I think it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
So, and I don't necessarily always think it's a bad thing when it happens for the first time, because if it doesn't happen to you, how do you know what you should be doing?
Yeah.
We only,
It's like a moment of realization of, wait a minute, something's not right here. Yeah. No, because I have like I haven't been like this. I'm only like this since I had my daughter, because my wheels came off after I had her. I remember when I was going on my maternity leave, one of the bosses was like, she'll be back after 6 months. There's no way she'll go off her game at home with a baby with nothing to do. It's just not Pamela. And I like it, having my baby was like, oh my God, my brain just can't do this anymore. It's too hard.
It
Yeah.
is mad though, and I think, baby, like the last 3 weeks, we were speaking earlier, and I've traveled so much. This weekend, I was so tired, I couldn't sleep,
Yeah. I hate when that
and
happens.
that comes later in life as well, Pam. When you hit the old perimenopause and the hormones, it can physically stop you from sleeping. So I think sometimes it's good. Like I'm not a tablet taker. I
Yeah.
always like to feel the pain so that I know when the pain's gone. I don't like false sense of security. And I feel like that with my own health as well. Um, that I need to know when I'm too deep in, so that I can go and nurture myself out.
Yeah. That's one thing I learned is, I think when you have a very busy brain like me and you, like, I never thought I was an anxious person, but it was my baseline was anxiety. I just didn't know because I was never not anxious. But now I've learned what anxiousness feels in my body. And that's the only way I can tell I'm anxious, because my brain is just constantly going. So I can tell, wait a minute, I know this feeling. This shouldn't be happening. This means something's going too far. So I'm going to have to figure out what it is and get it calm back down again, and I can only do that in my body. And I agree with that as well. I'm like not mad about taking two like medications unless, no, I think there's a place for them for a lot of people, but unnecessarily, like I don't like taking things if I don't
No,
have
I
to.
like to feel it all. Life for me is about feelings. And people are probably tuning in going, I thought this was a business podcast. But do you know what? If you don't feel good and you're not right, you're no good in business. It's that
No.
simple.
Yeah.
Um, a really good example, actually. So obviously before I got so busy, I suppose in 2018, I just worked with my husband in our Pilates studio. We got married in the New Year's Eve. We didn't think we could take a holiday together. We'd always worked together. We took a week off and went, oh my God, that was just so simple and so easy. We'd been so scared to do it. We hadn't traveled together for 12 years, more or less. Um, and then we went, right, future now, future holds, one weekend a month, different city in Europe, and we still do it. Well, I do it even if he can't make it. But you have to be well, you have to be happy. If you're not happy, you're no good to your clients, you're no good to your business, and you just get in the doldrums.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because at the end of the day, like that, it's you, it's your mind, especially if you're working on your own. Like, I like I've started going into Republic of Work once a month just to sit in a co-work space because it's just nice. And now my husband works from home again. We're still married, but
Well
we're
done.
in separate rooms, and I just get lost, and I forget to eat when he's not home because he comes in to go, "Are we having lunch?" Because I get so sucked into things. But it is just you in your head, and if you're not like minding it, the wheels can come off pretty fast, especially when you're running your own business.
Amazing. So for me, I suppose, I know we chatted for such a long time about doing this, and I think it's really important to demystify working for yourselves. And it is things like, you said earlier, oh, I'll join that when I'm good enough, or, you
Hmm.
know, a lot of clients always say to me, "Oh, I haven't got a business card yet," or, back in the day it used to be headed paper. Now it's I need to do my signature on Google or whatever. I'm one of those people. I'm just like, just do it. Just do it. Just get started. I can't stop faffing about. If
Yeah.
you don't get started, you won't make mistakes. And if you don't make mistakes, you don't learn. Fact.
Yeah, you don't. And I was definitely like that as well at the start, without a doubt. But now, and I'm like the operator, the back end, streamline everything. So it's very hard for me to go out unprepared, because I feel like that's what I do, is I build out the back end of things. So how can I sell myself if my back end is chaos? But the most important thing in starting a business is just visibility and selling. Like profit will build out your back end, and profit will streamline your processes. But you have to get the profit. You have to sell to get to that. And it's getting out, experimenting, figuring it out as you go, and learning with all of that as well.
So when it comes to like the faff, we just get started. We're going along, and I suppose we all scroll on the old social media. um I see a lot of things on social media that drive me a little bit mad when it comes to business. One of them is constantly talking about the six, the seven figure, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. It actually frustrates me. I've met a lot of these people, and I'm not they're all lovely people. However, when someone starts dictating to me what I need to charge
Mm.
because they're justifying what they charge, that
Just
to
add
me
a
is,
zero, Shan. Just add a zero.
well, isn't it? Just add a zero to that because you're worth it and you're amazing, and but it really grates on me, I have to say, because
Yeah.
when someone's trying to tell you what to charge somebody because you're completely underselling yourself and you're worth more than that, they're actually only justifying what they're charging you.
Mhm.
And that to me is called network marketing, or pyramid selling, and it's against the law, I thought.
Oh, it's totally unethical, like in that shape of a pyramid. I see that too. And one thing that I'm always saying as well is, just because somebody's making 10K months, or their revenue is, they always talk about the revenue and the
Yeah.
turnover. No one talks about profit. Like, how much are they spending on their coaches or mentors or whatever, or are buying in their products at to get there? I've seen companies turn over millions and make a loss. You know, turnover means nothing as a standalone figure, nothing at all. It's just throw a number at a wall. Like, it's great to have if you can get it and it means they can sell themselves. But are you running a profitable business behind that?
Yeah, so important. And I'm not going to sit here and say, don't invest in yourself to have that. Like, listen, I like to run my businesses at zero. I don't want to pay any extra to tax money. If I get to the end of the year and there's some money in the pot, I'm developing myself. I'm booking a course.
Yeah,
I'm buying, new machines. I'm doing something because I'll reinvest it into the business or into myself, which is the best investment you will ever make, is
hmm,
into yourself. However, be aware of who you're investing that with. That's all, or what certificate you're going for.
yeah,
A certificate of attendance isn't going to help you if you decide to travel to Australia.
no,
You need to be with the right people, reputable people. And another thing I see actually online an awful lot is, and I was actually going to do a skit on this of, oh, I am going to teach people how to start business. And then someone said, how many businesses have you started? Oh, well, I did start a business last year, but it didn't work out. So I decided I'm going to show people how to start a business anyway, because that's
that's
now
the
my,
advice been given, because and they've gone to a coach who told them, well, you did this one, see one, do one, teach one. That's the model that's going around these days, which is fine. If you see one, do one, you can teach me one, but don't charge me a premium to teach me. You know what I mean?
absolutely. Like when I started out, I mean, I did so much for free when I started out for a long time. And then I always had two price brackets, which I still do to a certain extent because I love working with SMEs, but I also love big business as well. And so, yeah, I definitely would not charge people starting out the same price. I just
Same.
morally can't do it.
Yeah, I have two aspects as well. Like, I have big business that I work with, and I'm like the board kind of. But then I have like, and I do an awful lot of work for free with smaller businesses and just really discounted prices, because it's just a different market and I'm giving such different advice as well to them. It's not
Yeah,
as it's supportive. It is kind of coaching, but it's from a consulting perspective. But
yeah.
yeah, it's that and the single solution providers as well. Um that like, oh, this is their business model for you, for every business, or this is the one thing and this is the only way to do it. Like
Yeah.
and if you're a specialist in that one way or that one model,
Good
fantastic
on
if
you.
that's what the business is needed, but not everyone needs that. And if you're selling that to every business, then that's a red flag as well for me.
Yeah, every business is Play-Doh to me. Everybody, because we all have different strengths, needs, wants. Every business does too, and we all know. And if we don't know, after the last few years, you have to be able to mold to changes, be flexible. I'm not even going to use the word pivot because that just drives me mad. But you have to be flexible. And actually, women
Yeah.
in business, like we're good at being flexible. Like we're really adaptable. So I think that's it's really important. No business is a template or comes out of a book. And
No, because
that's
even if your business is the exact same as my business, like, is your market like, are the people you're selling to the same? Your energy is different to my energy. Your own personal experience, traumas, everything makes you different to me. So we're not always going to be exactly the same. Nothing is every copy and paste.
I know. What's your biggest ick? Can we call
My
it an ick? It's very Love Island, isn't
It's
it?
unethical selling like that. Yeah. Just the over that see one, do one, teach one at a premium.
Yeah.
That's like, I've built two websites. I am not a website designer. The second website I built for free, the payment was babysitting because I will
Yeah.
not like charge somebody to build a website. But I know there's people out there saying, "Oh, you've built two websites, you should sell that service now." And I think that's unethical.
I couldn't agree more.
And I know there's people who will freak out over that, but that's how I think it
Well, do you
is.
know what? If you're freaking out, it's probably because you're doing it.
Mm.
Or actually, do you know what's unethical about it and what annoys me the most is they sell to people that don't know any different, and you only know what you know. So a lot of the time, we spoke about this before, I could be mopping up problems. Someone will come to me and say, I've paid for a website, I paid X amount of grand, and now I don't have my passwords or this. And I'm like, well, what company was it? Let me speak to them. And they're like, oh, it was my friend's son Johnny's best mate. And I'm like, don't do that.
No. No,
Don't
don't. And
do
I've
that.
seen that as well. But it was the girl down the street. Use them, but if they're going to charge you a fortune of money for it, like, you want to make sure there's experience there. And I'm not even about talking about like certificates and
No,
qualifications, because give me somebody who's been doing it for donkey's years over somebody fresh out of college with a certificate, even if they spent 4 years studying, because especially in accounting, when I see like the fresh faced, oh, we know what to do, it's never the same in practice. It's
no,
always done slightly different. So it's experience stands for so much more.
it really does. I always, look, simplify it. When I would employ a nail technician in my salon, the first 100 sets of nails she did weren't that great, you know, because it takes time and experience to understand the nail bed, etc. And then after about 100 nails, you'd be bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
Up to then, you're learning and you're allowed to do. Actually, I was doing a talk at the weekend, and so I recently became an Oxygen Advantage teacher. So teaching breath. Now, although I've taught breath for 12 years as a Pilates
Oh
instructor,
yeah, yeah,
it's really different. So when they put my name on the talk, they put breath specialist. And I said, take that down straight away. You can put movement specialist. I've been doing it for 12 years. But actually, what I've just learned has turned what I thought was right on its head. So this journey is now starting for me from scratch. It's all
yeah,
new. So please take that down. You can put wellness advocate, you can put business entrepreneur, you can put movement specialist, but you cannot put breath specialist because I am not yet. But give me 12 months of this new technique, then you can put that up.
yeah.
Um, so be aware of how you present yourself as well. I think that's really, really important. And when you're at the beginning of your journey, you are, if you know something more than somebody else, 100% you are the expert over them, but
Mhm.
not the expert in your field yet.
No, and I think there the problem with that as well, especially as women, is I know myself. I'm like I see people like call themselves strategic consultants. I know on paper there's nobody would argue that I'm not a strategic consultant because of my background and my experience, but I still don't feel the confidence to call myself because I know strategic consultants at the top of their game. I know thought leaders who've published papers and articles. So that's who I compare myself to. And I go, but I'm not him. And I know him, he's in my phone, I can ring him for advice and I do. And he is a strategic consultant, but I see people online who have maybe like 5% of my experience who call themselves strategic consultants. And it's like I'm not putting myself out there, but that's, my issue as well. And as coaches will say, that's a mindset issue for me. It's finding that balance because as women, we hold ourselves back. But there is a massive industry of see one, do one, teach one, charge a premium. And that is what I really, really don't like. And if you're triggered, that's
Yeah.
probably
I'd
something
say
to
if it's
look at.
annoyed you, that conversation, you're probably doing it. And if it's triggered you, you probably bought it.
Yeah, and we've all bought it. I've bought from people like that, we've all done
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah. Oh no, listen, I think it's absolutely fine. And like I say, you've got to make some mistakes. But I always say to people, people always say, no, what's the one tip you give people starting out? And I always say, ring me. Don't spend any money till you ring me because I'll tell you if that's good value or not. Because I that's all I do in my job is refer people to people. And
same. Yeah, I do too.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but like I have a bank of people, and some will be at what, somebody rings me and goes, Sean, can you refer people to me? I offer this, that, that. I'm like, give me the price point. And I either say to them, that's not my people, or listen, I'll keep it there for you. But most of the people that I work with, we try and keep their budgets as low as possible, etc. So yeah,
Yeah, and I think that because like that as well, like I know what I do, but I'm constantly referring people out because I'm like either I don't enjoy the work or I just feel like I'm not a specialist, so I send you to a specialist. But I'm like I'd be good all rounder, but I know where you need to go. I won't do it
yes,
for you. I'll tell you where to go. I won't charge you to tell you where to go. But I see so many people out there that are saying, "Oh yeah, I can do that as well." And
yeah,
they can't.
no,
They can, or they've done it once before because they want to keep you in their net. And it's
yeah,
being able to read that and find that person. If they can provide all the solutions for you, that's a red flag for me. I've been in meetings with people before, and I remember the sales manager was like, "Pamela, the answer is always going to be yes." Because I was like, "Can we do this? Can we do that?" The answer will always be yes. Now we didn't work with that company in the end; they were like a software development company. I was like, you're not good at everything.
no, and it's impossible. And who wants to be? Do you know what I mean? Like,
No.
as I said to you earlier, a client asked me to do some stuff last week, and I was like, look, I can do it for you. I'm more than capable. However, you're not using me to the best of what
Yeah.
I'm good at. You're better to use me to implement this because that's what I do. I'm an operator. So I'm a solution strategist. I can implement things and I can get the team together. That's 100% my strength.
Yeah.
Um, Writing and making reports and doing papers, that is not my strength. It really isn't. However, I can do it. It's no problem. I've had to do it. But that's another reason why I started working for myself because I hated doing all that stuff.
Yeah. Same. I'm like, yeah, we're just the same person, really. Copy and
Yeah,
paste.
I know. We have to get
No,
Mac.
but it is though, because it's like, yeah, I'm gone in spirit. Once I've solved the problem, I know I know who the killer is. I've left the room in spirit,
I'm
tying up
ready.
those little loose ends. Just I have to sit down, set a timer, really time myself in to do
Yeah.
that stuff. I hate it as well.
But no, it's good. But anyway, let's talk about the pod and what we're going to be doing. So, guys, we called it Unpacked because initially, I suppose, well, initially it was about this book, wasn't it? It was about the Diary of a
Well,
CEO.
it is. It is about the
Yeah, we're going to start with the book, but
Season one.
yeah, we're both avid listeners of the pod, and of Stephen Bartlett. And
I would say, to be fair now, I borderline obsession, small bit.
okay, okay, well, not so much. Not so. But yeah, but I think he's great. I love the pod. I love listening to it. I love the people that he has on it. And obviously, he just brought out the 33 Laws of Business and Life. And for me, I was like, okay, he's accumulated all of the information from all these amazing people that he's interviewed. How will he put it together? And obviously, I'm very aware that Stephen Bartlett is a lot younger than me. He could be my son. Um, Only just got a girlfriend, hasn't
Yeah,
had kids. Do you know what I mean? So because it was business and life, it really interests me because I'm like, what is he going to teach me about life at this stage in my life? And so I was like, we need to unpack this book
yeah.
and to see if it's of any use to us, I suppose.
If it's all it's cracked up to be as well. Yeah, but I'm very aware of that as well. Like, he doesn't have a family. He has a very specific view on life. And like, he's done amazing things. He's done a lot, and he's come from a harder background as well. He didn't have, a very privileged upbringing either. He'd working class parents, and he struggled himself for a period of time. But so I think he kind of said, his view is, if I struggled, I understand. If you have to, you can go without money for a while. Look what I did. You can't do that when you have a family. And you can't do that when you have people depending on you, on a mortgage, and get to a certain stage of life. It is
Yeah,
very different.
it is different, but I'm halfway through the book. And I know straight away in the first section, I was like, oh, I can't wait to start diving into this because I completely agree with, like, number one, but is it in that order? And yeah, so I suppose devil's advocate in me was coming out. And but yeah, so we're going to be unpacking some business books, some business myths. We will bring people on when we feel that we want to do so. And sometimes we just might have a catch up. But I want this to be a place, I suppose, for me, this pod is all about, um, well, therapy.
A rant.
Yeah, therapy for me, because sometimes it's good to get it off your chest. And I suppose it would be nice. I will be calling shit out. I always say to
Yeah.
people, don't do that to people. I will come and get you. Um, but to start with, I think we're going to really dissect that book for our first few episodes anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I've about 3 chapters left.
Okay.
But no, I know I do like the book. I do. There are some things, all right. I'm like, you
Yeah.
know,
When I was reading it actually in Portugal, the amount of notes, and I know you're the same, you've got notes all over the place. Um, but I look, we're going to do that. What do you want to get from this pod, Pam?
I just kind of want to. I definitely want to find out what your viewpoints on it are, because I know we think similarly. But you're in business a lot longer than me as well. I've seen a lot. I've done a lot of. Well, I suppose I've been working in business for, like, I think I actually counted the other day. It was 18 years, which makes me feel very bloody old.
Mm.
But your experience is quite different to mine, because your experience is in a lot more small business as well. Whereas mine will be in more kind of corporate level and larger businesses. So it'd be nice to see kind of the viewpoint. But I've just recently found out I've ADHD as well. So I'm navigating all of that. So my view on, personal growth and, keeping yourself healthy and your mind healthy is, it's interesting to read things in his book, because I'm like, I always question, has he got ADHD? The way he speaks and his own personal experience and things, it's very interesting. I think most entrepreneurs have an element of it as well, because it's the ideas and the ideas and the ideas. But so it's be interested to see.
I
I
think
refrain from it.
everybody is some way, shape, or form on the spectrum. I don't think a good entrepreneur could not be, because you have you have to have that fearless head. I've always said I've got that real dyslexic brain. It's a real power to have that,
Mm,
because I see things. people don't see. I look at things in a different way. I use the word disruption quite a bit. People think that I use it to disrupt things. No, disruption means to look at things in a different way, to open people's minds up in a different way. And I think to have that superpower like you have is really, really special and super needed. And you're completely right. You know, we have these conversations. I am very small business. I've worked with entrepreneurs my whole life. I've sat around the corporate table for 15, 20 years of my career, but I always worked as an entrepreneur within that business. So when I went to work for myself, actually, it wasn't massive change for me because I always ran every business like it was mine anyway.
Same, yeah. I'm like that when I'm in a business. I'm like,
Yeah,
but always thinking about we should be doing this and we should be doing this and what else could we be doing? And yeah, and I think that's you'll always do well in any business when you're like that, and people see that in you as well. But you're like you're harder to manage when you're
yes.
like I'm definitely harder to manage from that perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're built to work for ourselves. But look, I'm really looking forward to this journey. I suppose if anybody's got any questions, they can drop us an email. They can, yeah, to Sean Horn or to yours. What's your email address?
It's Pamela at monarchbusiness.ie or hello at monarchbusiness.ie. It's probably easier because remember the both of them.
Absolutely. And mine is just hello@seanhorn.com. And yeah, we'll answer any questions if we need to answer them week by week. I think it's going to be an amazing journey.
We can
And we've
tag the email addresses in the show notes as well. And actually, yeah, because if you do have any questions about your own business, like we love a natter, we love to figure something out and solve a problem for somebody. So definitely send them in.
Yeah, do send them in and we will discuss them and we will come up with some solutions for you. Fabulous. See you in the next episode.
Bye. The music used for the opening and closing of this podcast is titled Pleasant Porridge by Kevin MacLeod. IncompeteTech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0. www.creativecommons.org/licenses/by/4.0.